the last DUI. So had finished my house arrest. I still had 5 years probation. And I was working all these temp jobs, like I would build stages for a little while. I would do like work in a warehouse for a year. I think I did that as a temp job for a whole year, man. No benefits, nothing, no paid time off. Just busting ass and getting drunk every day. Because of course that was back, like I'm drinking every day again. I'm not just well, as soon as they cut the bracelet off, I mean, it must have been that same weekend. I was drinking again. Yep. Because, probation is one thing. I couldn't smoke weed or anything, or I'd get a hot piss test, but I could drink, and there was no way to prove it. But on house arrest, I mean, they could come by at any time and check and see if you've been drinking and violate you right then. But this is different. It's just probation, so it's a little more lenient. And it wouldn't be long before I was smoking and taking pills and doing wild shit. Uh, through connections, because I stopped hanging out with all my old buddies and everything. But then, as I would get different jobs and do different things, I would meet other people who, like without the past connection, I thought maybe I could drink with them and not be the same way. Maybe I would be better behaved or a better friend, I guess, a better drunk friend. But that was not the case, and I end up alienating everybody all the time. I mean, it just keeps happening. So, get this job at a dog food plant, Sunshine Mills, and it stinks in there, man. It smells like dog food, and all your clothes and everything reek like it. And they provide the full-time employees with uniforms, but I'm just a temp guy, so I had to wear my own clothes in there and ruin them. But I got a bunch of Dickies stuff, and man, it stunk like dog food. But now that I was 21, I mean, I was probably 24 or 25, but I was working in a wet county town. So they had bars and shit. So every day I'd get off work, I'd go hit up the bar at the Ruby Tuesdays at the mall, because it was the only one I knew of. I don't know why, but I just went there. I guess I like the mall because I would get a little hammered and then go buy DVDs and shit. Because while I was on house arrest, I developed a real DVD addiction and spent most of my check that I didn't spend on beer on DVDs. So, chilling at Ruby Tuesdays, getting fucked up, man. And I closed the place down. I was there till they turned the light, like it's closing time. You ain't got to go home, but you can't stay here. But while I was there, this other drunk lady who I'd seen there a few times sidled up to the bar, and she was taking painkillers, Lortabs. I bought about 10 from her, but I only had one left in my pocket when they arrested me. So I was sitting there at the bar, just shooting the shit and everything, and Alan came by, who was a coworker of mine at several jobs, but he had stopped, being wild like me. He wasn't like me. He could handle his booze, and he only drank when he wanted to drink and that kind of thing. But he stopped by the bar and was like, "Hey man, you're pretty fucked up, man." Offered to give me a ride home, but I was like, "Nah, I don't want to leave my car here because I'm driving again on suspended license all over the place." I'd had another incident prior to this, which has allowed me to have a vehicle again. So he's like, he really tried hard. He stayed there a long time to try to get me to come home with him because I was too fucked up. I shouldn't have been driving at all. And I probably had already eaten 8 or 9. Maybe I gave him one lower tab. I don't remember. But I had eaten a bunch of them, and was like, about to get kicked out if the bar wouldn't have closed. So bar closes, and then all the restaurant workers are kind of milling around outside in the parking lot, and they're like, "We're going to this after hours place." So I followed them over there. I was not invited. I followed them. Like, I drunkenly sat in my car, waited for them to start heading that way, and then followed them to where they were going, and somehow got in the door. But it was a for real after hours bar. That was, I mean, beer was like $7, $8, because it was illegal to be doing. But I sure fucking went, and then eventually they, saw that I didn't belong, and they kicked me out. So I was trying to drive home, and I'm on like Main Street, Tupelo, where Elvis bought his first guitar right there next to that hardware store, and fucking like swerving across all 5 lanes. So it's 4 lanes in the turning lane, I think. I can't remember. It's been a while since I've been to Tupelo down there. But I'm across all of them. I'm so fucked up. I cannot drive straight, no matter what. But I made it. All the way out of Tupelo, all the way down Highway 78, all the way down Highway 25 without anybody running into anything. No roadblocks, no problem. And it was a weekend, so it should have probably been a roadblock. They didn't have one up, luckily, that time. So I'm coming down 25, and I was about a mile from the house, from Smithville. And this car is riding my ass, man. They won't get off my ass. And I can't see because I keep getting distracted and looking in the rear view and getting blinded. And that's a curvy ass, real dangerous road to especially not be able to see on. My night vision sucks anyway, and I'm drunk. So I fucking, I pumped the brakes to try to get them to back off, and they wouldn't back off. They just kept getting closer and closer and closer. And so finally, I just stopped the fucking car, man. Put it in park, got out, and was like, "What's your fucking problem, man?" And then, whoop, whoop, hit the blue lights. It was a fucking Itawamba County Sheriff's deputy. And somebody had seen my drive, or he saw me. I don't remember. He got behind. That's it. He fucking lived on that road and saw me. Like he was worked nights and just got off and was getting home and was like outside smoking or something. I don't even know. But saw me fucking coming down the highway swerving like that. And it was like, well, back on duty. And followed me and pulled me over. Sure enough. That just came to me. I can't believe I've forgotten all that. So, but he was really pissed, man, because he was like, my kids are on this road and blah, 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 blah. I was like, dude, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Ain't no kids on the road. But, yes, you're right. I should not. And I was very polite this time, whereas a lot of times when I would get arrested, I'd be kind of a dick, especially for DUI, because, I don't know, something, because you're drunk, I guess, it makes you angrier. And it's a real pain in the ass, and it's something I've already been through. I was like, God damn, not another DUI. But I seem to be handling this one better. Probably maybe all the lower tabs and shit I was on. I was real fucked up. But he thought I was funny. Like once they got me back to the holding area, not the holding cell, but like where they have to give you the breathalyzer had advanced to this at this point, and they had the machine that they put your fucking ID into. And it sends down to Jackson, so there's no way you could get an attorney to get out of it and shit and be like, oh, the machine wasn't calibrated properly or whatever, So there's no way out of that. And Dirk had been giving me hell about blowing all the time because I would always blow and the machine just fucking roll the dice. And so this time I didn't. I was like, man, my daddy said if I blow it again, he was going to kick my ass, so I don't think I'm going to do it. And that got them going. They started laughing. And they let me sit in there in that area for, 3-4 hours because I just had them cackling. I was telling them all my stupid-ass stories about getting in trouble and all my DUIs and stuff like that. And they just thought it was the funniest shit they'd ever heard. So after about 3 hours, I guess, he was like, all right, look, man, it's, breakfast is about to come. You got to go into a cell. You got to go. So, okay. And he was like, all right, empty your pockets, and we're going to put you in a jumpsuit. They hadn't even searched me or anything. So I emptied my pockets, and about 3 of those fucking lower tabs fell out on the table. So I did have 3 left. I palmed one and took it later in the cell. They didn't see me take it. But I grabbed one, but the other 2, and so they gave me a felony for a fucking controlled substance. But I ended up getting it dropped later on. Anyway, locked me up. That's another DUI. But I'm on probation, so it's technically first offense DUI, because remember I got 2 first offense DUIs, and then every 5 years your DUIs roll back to 1. So you could have 7 DUI, wait 5 years, get another DUI, and it's first DUI. So I'm back to first DUI because so much time has gone on since I've been getting all these DUIs. It's a lot of years later. So they let me bond out, but then they hold me. They won't let me go because my PO has found out that I've been arrested for another DUI, and he's on his way to get me, and they're going to violate me, potentially go to prison. So I'm fucking sweating that shit out, and he comes, and during this time, I mean, it wasn't that much before. I had been trying to get into college. I hadn't gone back to college yet. This is before the motorcycle incident and all that. So I was, I was working in that dog food plant, and it was just miserable. Like, didn't like the work, didn't like how my life was going, and I was like, I want to make a change and go back to school, that kind of thing. I was, 25, about to be 25, and so during that time, when I had violated my probation, they took me back to Monroe County, and I was in holding until I could go before the parole board. So I'd been there for 6 weeks already, and during that time, I got accepted into college. So they're going. I had a dorm room, everything. Like I was going full time university student. And because of that, and because it was first offense again, and uh, my PO was, pretty lenient on me, I was allowed to go to rehab again and then to college. So, like, I got that DUI, stayed in the county for 6 weeks, signed my acceptance papers in the county jail, like they stuck them through the little slot, that they give you, and I signed it. Then go straight from the county. They take me to a rehab facility in the town where I'm going to go to college. And the rehab, I stayed there for 42 days and got out on the first day of the spring semester, which would be in January. So I literally left the rehab with a bag that had my clothes for college, walked across the street, it's like 2 blocks, and like they hassled me at the gate and shit. And then I was like, no, I'm gonna be a student here. Go into my new dorm room and everything, and start my new life as a college student. And on my way to trying, I was gonna be a history teacher, but the motorcycle thing happened. But I did not blow, so I don't know how drunk I really was. Probably in the .2 somethings. Who knows? And then this third whatever DUI would extend the suspension of my license for the total would be 11 years. So 11 total years from the time I was 19 till I didn't get them back till I got out of prison. So 30. That I had a suspended license. All in all, I paid, I don't know, man, 25, 30 grand in fines, MASAP courses, probation fees, all this kind of shit over the total. That's just in DUIs. That's not counting like driving on suspended license every time you get a DUI, which is a $500 fine and another 6 months without your license. So I bet I got popped for that probably 10 times. I don't even know. A fucking bunch. So anyway, that's the last DUI.